Welcome to my shop again. I believe this is going to be video number 61. It's been a pretty long haul. I feel like I've come a long way from number 1 all the way up to here. I've learned a lot. One thing that I found, and I just sort of realized it the other night, was that making these videos is actually, it's driven me to become a better turner, because it's, you know, I'm showcasing my craft, and naturally I don't want to showcase something, you know, that's lousy or anything like that. So I try a little harder, and I try to put a little versatility in my videos. So, you know, that's the way I do it. One thing that I noticed, and I'm sure a lot of you guys did notice about me when I turn, is I generally wear gloves. And over a period of time, I've gotten several comments on wearing gloves. I mean, they've all been nice and polite, which, you know, I really appreciate that. But, you know, I wear gloves because I guess the primary reason I wear gloves is because that flying bark and chips and whatever, it hurts. You know, it hurts my hand, my left hand especially. And sometimes especially if you're turning something fairly fast and it's dry wood, it's hot to the point you can't keep your hand there. So I've developed a habit of just wearing gloves, and I don't see any reason to change that habit. Now what I do is I try to, you know, be extremely safe about wearing gloves, because I do realize that that's possibly something that could catch and cause me a whole lot of problems. And I don't need any problems that, you know, like that. That would probably be the end of my turning career, and I'm not ready to quit that yet. So I thought I would, you know, discuss a little bit about my philosophy and my thinking for doing this. So, you know, let's start off right here. I've laid out, you know, several different pairs of gloves, and I put this tool rest right here. And I guess the primary thing about wearing gloves is that you've got to treat your tool rest as if it's, you know, a wall or something. And regardless, you know, of what you're doing, if you're turning, if the tool rest is, let me rephrase that, if the spindle is turning, well, this tool rest, it's your wall. I mean, you don't cross this wall with anything but a cutting tool. I mean, you don't feel your work. You don't, you know, you don't get a finger over there or anything like that. You know, that's how you get hurt. It's not the glove that causes you to get hurt. It's your being complacent, or, you know, just being careless. I mean, that's how you get hurt. A while back I did a video called No Such Thing as Accidents. And I'm a firm believer that every accident a person has, you know, there's an underlying cause for it that is not, you know, it's not the glove, it's not the car, or, you know, whatever. It's not the stepladder and so forth. So let's get on with this. And that's the most important part. Like I said to my grandson when I was teaching him, that's a cardinal rule. You don't go to the other side of that except with a cut. So let's talk about some of the gloves you should or should not wear, or could not wear. Should is up to you. Okay, here's a pair of welding gloves. I had a guy suggest one time I wear welding gloves because they got the long cuffs, and I apparently am allergic to certain kinds of woods, especially walnut. I'll break out right here in the summer when it's hot, like I've got poison ivy. So welding gloves, they would solve that problem, except welding gloves are thick, and you have no feel, and they do have quite a large cuff, and maybe it could get caught on something, maybe it's not, but I don't wear welding gloves. Now here's a pair of leather work gloves, and you know, you sort of don't have any feel there. And the thing about that, I mean, this particular pair, I guess I've had them too long, but they're sort of split right there, so you've got, in case you did get over there, you got a little something that your work could grab. Now here's a pair that I bought when I first started turning. Now these gloves are, I wouldn't say cut proof, but they're rated like cut level 5, whatever that means. So I sort of thought that, well, you know, fine stuff ain't gonna cut me. But the thing about these gloves is that they're, everything sort of clings to them. You know, you end up with a, you know, sort of like grabbing a hold of something that won't let go with all of these shavings that stick to it. So I very seldom wear these. Plus, I found out they were a real pain in the ass to get off because you built up some sort of sweat in there or something. Now here's a pair of gloves. These are carpenter's gloves, and I wore these quite a bit. They have the thumb and the 2 fingers here on each one of them cut off. I don't know, these are sewn, so these were bought this way. I have cut off several myself. So, you know, they're nice. And I've worn them a lot, and they're comfortable. You have the strap around the wrist. Now you have to really be careful with that strap. You don't want it flapping. You always need to make sure that it's connected. So that's another kind. Now, here's the same kind of glove, but they're full-fingered, and I wear these quite a bit. And mainly the reason I wear these is that especially when I'm roughing, because they've got some sort of like knuckle and back padding here, and some of that bark, I mean, it really flies off there at a pretty good velocity. I mean, you guys all know that you had things hit you in the face shield and make a, like a bullet hitting a piece of tin or something, like bam, bam. I've had that happen. Now, here are my very favorite gloves. I just love these gloves. They are golfing gloves. Relatively expensive for what gloves cost. I think they were like 20 bucks. But they are extremely comfortable. They have a little flap here, but you can feel everything through them, but they still protect. And they have no real seams here for anything to catch on. So that's, these are the ones I wear. I have no intentions to change that. Once the roughing's done, and a lot of times I do not wear gloves, and I try to never wear gloves if I'm working on the inside of the bowl where the tool rest is sitting in there. So that's my take on wearing gloves, guys, and if it offends anybody, I'm sorry, but that's what I'm going to do. You know, maybe if I ever get hurt, I'll change that philosophy. But as of now, I think I'm just have to be very cognizant of what I'm doing and not get complacent. I think that's how most people get hurt. Well, there we have it. So if you like what I do, not necessarily what I say and so forth, I'd appreciate, telling your friends and yourself. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe and give me a like. Now, please, don't give me a dislike just because you disagree with me. If the video's sorry, that's another story. But just because you disagree, that's not a good enough reason. All right. Well, I'm working on a video now, and I've got about half done on a beer stein. You can see it sitting right here. In fact, I'm pretty close to being done, and I think you're going to enjoy that. So stay tuned for that, and thank you again.